my question for you both is, how do you address the challenges when it comes to like working with all male crew members in the team? Like, does it change the perspective, or do you think that as you mentioned that people are like hiring more female technicians, but there are times that we are supposed to work with all male members in the crew. So how do you address like challenges?
I think first of all, I think we should stop thinking too much.
Yeah,
How are we going to behave? And it's just like normal. It's just going to be.
You can't be conscious about.
You can't be
these
conscious
things.
about
that
these
will
things.
affect your work. I
Yeah.
think it's. I mean, unless and until there's something which is really troubling you in that ecosystem, I don't think it really matters.
Yeah, and I don't think so. It matter. I always feel that the coexistence of a direction team or a film team has always been very strong and very close. So I don't see that as an issue unless until you feel that way.
No, but I understand also, like, you might end up feeling a little uncomfortable, but see, that's across professions. I don't think there's something unique about this profession that, you are not going to deal with. You're going to deal with the same challenges, same issues, which is across whatever profession you're in.
But answering your point, there are some issues which I have faced, and I just made sure that my team doesn't face it. Most importantly is because we shoot in locations which are pretty outdoor, and men can go and be anywhere, and we cannot. So I just made sure that the women of my team, if there was a vanity van, which is there usually in every location, we shoot. If there isn't, then at least when you have a vanity van, you at least have one door which is only for women, and that door has. And now our production teams and all just know it, right? From sanitary pads to sanitizers to everything is just there. Last time my production person also put face wash and everything else and sunscreen, so that when we're going out we can just put our sunscreen and go. So it's about how you put the habit that there are people and you need to do it.
I have watched Panga and I have watched Bareli Ki Barfi. I'm yet to watch Neel Bate Sanata. But both these places, you see like people like characters like Pankaj Tripathi's, for example. That is what comes to mind when you say men written by women, right? So I wanted to ask, is there a film in the past, like as maybe you watched as a child or a teenager or something, that made you think that this is something I want to do? Like an inspiration, I mean.
Yeah, so I think as a storyteller and also I'm assuming that you're an aspiring writer, director, I think as a storyteller it is very important to travel and see life. We cannot be writing and telling a story within the four walls of our house. It's not going to be possible. Then we might as well tell a story inside the four walls of a house, and there are some really cool stories there too. But if you're telling about life stories, about people, about characters, and you have an intent to say, then it is very important to travel, to see people, to understand. It is very important to understand the roots of the place where you're going to be talking the story from. So if I'm talking about Bareilly or I'm talking about Agra, and I want to understand the social structure of that place, especially if you've not watched Neel Bate, but for Neel Bate it was very important for me to understand the social structure of these two characters whom I'm talking about. It's very important to ask questions. So in Neel Bate Sanata, the girl who was just going through 10th exam was actually a story of happening in my household between my Didi and her daughter, because Didi felt that she cannot be studying more. And what is she going to do? I don't have the means. But she forgot that I would be there to be a source for her if her daughter is going to be educated. So there was Ratna Patak Shah, who was like a mentor who could like teach and say that things are happening. Similarly, I think the father-daughter relationship is something which you aspire. So an audience who's watching it, a daughter would say that, I wish I had a father like this whom I could talk to. Or the daughter would say, I have a father like this and I love that relationship. Or it would be like the father would say, this is exactly the kind of relationship I would want to have with my daughter. So these are, as a storyteller, what we say, the audience consumes it. And we have the ability to portray a story and have an audience completely grasp into it and get inspired by it.
So, ma'am, my question is, like, while writing strong female characters, like, does something subconsciously holds you back because of the audience perception or the box office numbers, like how the audience is ready, or you just go for it?
No, I just go for it. I don't think so. Something holds me back. But also, the only one thing which maybe that is because everyone has a purpose as a storyteller, and what is my purpose as a storyteller? What am I trying to communicate? And I just always feel that whatever films I make should be archival. Like long after I've gone, it needs to be archived. And for me, it's also very important that the stories which I say, even if it is a thriller tomorrow or even if it is an action tomorrow, it has to have some kind of meaning because that's my purpose. And my purpose also should be that that tomorrow maybe there are some films which my children may not be able to see, but when they grow up or they are able to watch, they should be proud of the kind of films I've made, and that is my purpose. So everyone's purpose can be completely different. For me, the most humble thing is that in my daughter's school, when the English teacher, literature teacher comes and says that, you guys have to watch movies, and Nil Pate Sanata is a very good movie and you all should watch it. And to see the smile of my daughter when her friends are looking at her and smiling at her. So I think that is what my purpose is. So there's no written rule. I think you write for an audience, of course, because you are making films for yourself, but at the same time you're making film for an audience. Who doesn't love an audience interaction? So if this room was completely empty, I would just feel very bad, right? So you have to write for your audience, but at the same time you have to be able to communicate in a way where you're telling a new kind of story. So when Shweta was editing and talking about her film, which she felt was very passionate in terms of the relationship, and that's her point of view, and there's nothing wrong in that, and that's what storytelling does. It takes audience into different sides,